Greetings, loves. It is I, Tactical Girlfriend. Welcome back to the channel. I hope everybody's doing well. Today, I'm going to be talking about my helmet setup. It's a question that's often asked of me, and I also want to talk about generally why you may or may not want a helmet, the concepts behind the usage of a helmet, and the options available to you. So without further ado, let's get into it. So first of all, why would you ever want a helmet in the first place? Well, the obvious answer is to protect your melon. That's a really good one. Now, depending on what you're doing, you may or may not actually need to do that. If you're just daytime blinking at the range, that's probably not a very useful thing to have. It can be cumbersome and annoying, and it really isn't going to help you at all. Sometimes you actually may want to have a helmet to protect yourself. If you're in a dangerous environment, something like a ballistic helmet could potentially be a lifesaver. You also might want to try to mount things to a helmet, in which case that's a great platform to start from. Now, with regards to protection, there's two options: ballistic helmets and bump helmets. Ballistic helmets have a very limited use case for civilians, as if you're not in a war zone, you're probably not going to really reap any benefit from this. Most of them are rated to protect you from pistol calibers, and that's about it. Also, they're generally designed around protecting you from shrapnel from artillery and mortars, so it's more of a military application, and most civilians really don't gain much from this. Furthermore, ballistic helmets are pretty dang heavy, so I don't think that you'd want to wear one if you could avoid it. I'd much rather wear a soft hat at that rate, unless I'm somehow finding myself in a war zone, in which case, well, I'm probably also screwed for a number of other reasons. Don't try to ever do that. I don't recommend it. Bump helmets, on the other hand, much like the name implies, are there to protect you from bumping your head. They're basically glorified bicycle helmets, and they're useful for anybody who might be doing very intense activities in perilous environments where you're climbing things or prone to taking a tumble. That can really save the day. They're also much lighter than ballistic helmets and therefore pretty comfortable to wear. Tactical helmets in general also serve as a mounting platform. If you have accessories that you need on your head, like a light, goggles, ear protection, night vision, strobes, they all serve a really useful utility in that sense. There's a ton of different things that you can do with a helmet, and that's actually why I personally run a helmet. If I didn't need a mounting platform for the various accessories that I used, then I absolutely would not wear a helmet if I could help it. Getting to the good stuff, let's talk about my helmet. This is a Team Wendy Exfil bump. It's a bump helmet, it's not ballistic rated, it is very lightweight and very comfortable. I only got this because I needed a mounting solution for my night vision, but there's a lot of other great features, and let's talk about those. On the interior, we have a Zorbium foam liner with various customizable pads that you can adjust, swap out, and move around as needed. It's really important to do this because wearing a helmet for a long time can get very uncomfortable, it can give you headaches, and you really want to make sure that it's fitting you just right so you can avoid such a situation. Moving on to the suspension system, we have the chin strap here, of course, which is very comfortable, and you can unbuckle it. On the interior of the helmet, wrapping all around, we have the cam fit system, which is retained by the BOA closure here, and you can crank it down, tighten the entire circumference of the helmet around your head, therefore making sure that it's nice and secure and not wobbling around. On the side of the helmet, we have the Exfil 2.0 rail system. This is basically a proprietary design from Team Wendy, so mounting options are limited, but the good news is Team Wendy does provide tons of different accessories that allow you to adapt things to it. Next, let's talk about the various accessories that I've added to this helmet. Now, I did go the full Team Wendy route because a lot of these accessories are kind of proprietary due to the nature of the helmet. So I did want to make sure that I did everything right and everything fit just fine. The first thing I added was the Team Wendy helmet cover. It's cloth, it has various Velcro options for mounting things to. It's also got little slots within them to allow you to route cables through and tuck things in so it's nice and neat. I've also got the Team Wendy counterweight kit here. It's filled with lead weights. Basically, if I'm wearing night vision, I don't want the weight of the night vision to cause the helmet to dip forward, so that balances it out. I've also got the Team Wendy Peltor Comtac adapters for my Comtac Vs. These allow me to wear my ear pro integrated into the helmet. On the very side of the helmet, I opted to add a Princeton Tech MPLS. This is a very nice, small, administrative light. It's very lightweight, and it allows me to see things in the dark, such as maps or where I'm walking, without shedding too much light. got an adjustable boom arm here so you can move the beam in a direction that you need it. You've also got 3 modes. You've got your low red, high red, and visible white light. I also did opt to actually add some integrated goggles to the helmet. These are the Scott SOEP Boogie goggles. They're actually attached by this bungee system here, which is attached by Velcro to the very rear end of the helmet. This allows me to very quickly and easily don and doff my eye pro without much trouble at all. Also, I don't need to worry about using a wire frame for my goggles, which interferes with the seal of your ear protection. It's just right there when you need it, and you can easily stow it when you don't. On the very front of the helmet, I have a Wilcox aluminum shroud. This is a mount for my night vision. It's made out of aluminum, so it's tough. And unlike the ops core, it's not made out of the plastic that is actually molded into the actual shell of the helmet. The problem with that is that once that plastic wears through from usage, it can't be used anymore. And you gotta throw the whole shell away, and that really sucks. So I do recommend getting some sort of metal shroud that is not actually integrated fully into the helmet. As far as how I mount my night vision, I use a Norotos RHNO arm here. This basically slides right into the shroud and you just lock it in place. There's other fancier arms out there for your night vision, such as those by Wilcox, but this is a fairly common milsurp item. It's very standard issue and it works just fine. Then in order to attach your night vision, you just slide that in, lock it in place, make sure it's secure. You do not want to drop your night vision. Speaking of which, I have a retention device here, which I always recommend anybody with night vision use. This is the Kinetic Consulting Nerd. Basically ties onto your night vision, and then you can attach it to your helmet with Velcro. Very simple, but if anything were to ever happen to this and it were to break off, you want to make sure that that night vision does not take that tumble. Now, I do want to talk about one of the main competitors to the Team Wendy Exfil and arguably one of the more ubiquitous styles of helmets out there, and that's the OpsCore Fast Bump. This one is not an authentic one, it's actually an airsoft copy, but I do want to use it for demonstration purposes. Much like the Team Wendy, the outer shell is all molded plastic, but your shroud is also part of that mold. The concern again with this is that this can eventually wear out because it's made out of plastic and you're mounting metal objects to it, and then it can be an unreliable mounting platform. The padding system inside the helmet is very rudimentary. There's not very much to it, just a few pads that you stick on with Velcro in a few positions. But granted, there are tons of much better pads that you can get in the aftermarket and make this a much more comfortable helmet. I still think that the entire system in the Team Wendy is all around far more comfortable, but this is technically viable. Much like the Team Wendy's BOA system, you have the OCC dial fit band, which allows you to crank down a harness that goes around the circumference of your head, allowing it to fit very nice and snug. The one thing I like about the OpsCore helmets is that you have the arc rails on the side. These are far more ubiquitous and popular, and there's a ton of different aftermarket accessories that you can add to it. You're not going to have to funnel all these adapters through Team Wendy, which is fairly proprietary. So it is one great advantage about the OpsCore. Well, that wraps up my breakdown of my helmet setup. If you got your own, I'd love to hear more about it in the comments below, so feel free to chime in. Also, if you found this video remotely useful, enjoyable, cute, or quaint, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell too. I also want to give my unending thanks to everybody who's supporting this channel on Patreon. This channel is not at all monetized. I don't run any ads on it. Everything that you see here comes from viewers like you. So if you want to go help chip in, you can always go to patreon.com/tacticalgf. You can see the end of the video for the names of my biggest contributors. And that's all the helmet talk I got for you today. I really appreciate you all tuning in. Please be good to each other out there. And as always, please take care. Bye!
Good.